Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Talk about the Tasha Diaz in the City of Yonkers. Tried to award her a no-bid contract. Let's talk about it. It's 2024. Folks, are we going to see an investigation into the corruption here in the City of Yonkers? It's out of hand right now. A lot of stuff is happening. Changes. Have the people that have been fired because of concerns that maybe there is heat coming on here in the City of Yonkers? Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. I want to quickly talk about the Tasha Diaz scandal. That's right. It's a scandal that needs to be investigated. Tasha Diaz, the majority leader, who has a campaign manager by the name of Frank Jereis, whose father is Zehy Jereis, a man that has been to federal prison for corruption, bribery, extortion, involving a Yonkers City Council member in the past, serving 4 years in federal prison, sending a council member, a former majority leader, to jail for 6 years. Now they back in politics, still up to the same old tricks. The ones who are behind Tasha Diaz, but not only Tasha Diaz, behind the campaigns and what they do as council members and at council meetings of Deanna Robinson as well. Shanae Williams, who went up to the county now as a county legislator and had some, his hands in Lakeisha Collins Bellamy's campaign as well. So I want to go over this again. Very recent, maybe about a month or so ago, Tasha Diaz tried to award a no-bid contract to ACES Communication and Consulting, a company that was uncovered to be owned by Frank Jereis, her campaign manager, who is also a city employee. And that goes against the charter. It is illegal. Yet there has not been an investigation. And I have not gone over the description of what exactly they were going to be doing in this no-bid contract, right? What were the responsibilities? So I want to go over this because I think it's important to talk about this stuff. So scope of work. This is what they were going to be doing for this contract, right? ACES Communication and Consultant, FBI, are you listening? Her campaign manager. They are the campaign managers for at least 3 or 4 of the 7 council members. So they almost have a monopoly on the council members. So this is what they wanted to do. Scope of work. As needed and directed by the majority leader. Provide design work. Supply list of residents for council members. Leadership district specific mailings. Postings, printings will come at a separate course, of course. Now remember, the City of Yonkers taxpayers are footing the bill. We're going to be footing the bill for this. Execute from start to finish the governmental mailers for the council twice a year. As requested, provide digital content to council members. Reach out to local media outlets regarding council events. As requested, provide info and graphics for social media campaigns related to governmental issues involving the council. Work with council members in the formation of questions and comments during committee and council meetings regarding items before the council, because we know that they need help, right? They have nothing, that is informative or enlightening to say at these meetings. They don't specify clearly or in detail what it is that they're voting on, what is these items that are coming before them, these items on the agenda at various council meetings. The public just has no clue. They're voting yes, but we don't know what they're voting on. And it's very rare that they ever vote down anything, right? So it's like nothing is ever proposed that the majority of them don't agree with. It's like the only things they introduce are things that they already know they're going to go ahead and pass because they want to pass it for a specific reason. And it's usually not something that's benefiting the city residents. So think about that. There's nothing ever introduced that the majority of them don't like, a vote no on, or doesn't get passed, unless it's something like this, where we catch a city council member, like the majority leader, attempting to award a no-bid contract to her campaign manager. right? Work with council to develop strong messaging for council members' backgrounds, biographies, and accomplishments. Work with the council to develop message-driven talking points for council members for use in media interviews and specific public events. So basically, they're drafting up what they're going to say, what they're going to think, what their messaging is, what they want to convey to the public. This is all going to be coming from Tasha Diaz's campaign manager, Frank Jereis and Zehy Jereis, on behalf of the entire council, not just Tasha Diaz. Communicate and coordinate regularly with council leadership to identify new and unique story concepts and strategies to pitch. Now, what does that mean? Identify new and unique story concepts and strategies to pitch. Okay. As requested, write and place bylined op-ed articles on behalf of council leadership. So write articles on their behalf. Just go ahead and put whatever messaging they want to be put out there. As requested and needed, work with council leadership to develop and execute social media campaigns that work within and supplement the overall communication strategy. Work with council members. This is one I like. This is the most important one. Work with council members and their counsel, their lawyers, their attorneys, to create legislation that will increase their exposure to media and the public. So they're going to work with them to create legislation to increase their exposure. What does that mean? They should not be working with them to create any legislation. They should not be having this much input in what's going on with the council members, especially for all of them. So basically, they want to control the messaging, create legislation, put out the social media campaigns and all the marketing and the literature. They want to have control over all of that, the propaganda, everything that you get in your mail, you see on the internet, what they're going to say, the questions that they come up with at meetings and at public events, the answers they're going to give. Basically, puppets. These are characters. These are actors. They're playing a role. They're not really qualified many times for this role. But that's okay. It's Yonkers. We don't need qualified people here, right? That's why Akeem Jamal came back, and we'll get into that in a second. Cost proposal, effective September 1st, 2023 through March 1st, 2024. Yonkers City Council agrees to pay ACES Consulting and Communications, LLC, a monthly fee of $5,000 for 6 months for the strategic consulting and communication in the scope of work outlined above. Initial payment due upon execution of this agreement, which was going to be paid by the taxpayers, us. Giving money to her campaign manager. That's just a way of funneling taxpayer money into their pockets and giving them full control of the Yonkers City Council. Hello, FBI 911. Hey, yo, feds, I got something for you guys to investigate. Tasha Diaz, the majority leader. This 2024. When are we going to see an investigation into this? Right. And like I said, I don't know if you guys received this call, but I got a call in regards to something with the Yonkers Public School, and it was by the new communications director or press secretary, Jamal Akeem, a man that at one time he was employed with the City of Yonkers. Then he went to work somewhere else in Roosevelt Island, but now he's back. But while employed initially with the City of Yonkers, he was drinking, and some have and others have accused him of doing illegal drugs that night before driving off drunk, driving down the wrong way on Central Avenue and crashing into an elderly man. It ain't go to jail for this, no nothing. Nothing that normal people would have to go through, right? Because he's connected. His entire family works for the city. So they get him out of here. They give him raises, then get him out of here. Make a deal for him to go work up with Hochul's administration, but I don't think she wanted him. And they pushed him off to Roosevelt Island, where the news people out there were wondering, where did this guy come from? And then they wrote about him throughout his short time there before he returned back to Yonkers with a $170,000 a year job at the Yonkers Public Schools. We're strapped for cash. Why does this guy get $170,000 with a history of drinking and driving You see why city employees think it's okay to drink and drive? Because they're not going to get in trouble. A lot of times they get raises and promotions. See, I don't understand this. The board of trustees had to make this decision. So is the superintendent. Did they look at his background? And what about the superintendent that they're looking at hiring? How long will he last here in the city of Yonkers? If you look at his history in the past school districts, he hasn't lasted more than 3 years. He's gone from one school to the next. In fact, he hasn't even finished his 3-year contract with Schenectady. And now he's already a top contender for the city of Yonkers. The only thing that he's managed to do is increase his pay along the way. And if he comes down here to Yonkers, that's going to be another pay increase for the man. So it seems like he's following the check more than he's looking to really go into a school district and do some amazing things. We can't say that he's done it before because he hasn't lasted very long at the past schools, from Buffalo to Schenectady and now to Yonkers. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of corruption going on here in the city of Yonkers. A lot of corruption. People are not hired because they are the best qualified. People are hired because they are connected or they bring some benefit to those who are hiring them. And this is why I believe strongly that our board of trustees here in the Yonkers Public Schools should be voted on by the parents. As a parent, I'm going to start advocating for that we make that change. They should not be appointed by politicians. They have no skin in the game. None of them have kids in the Yonkers Public Schools or reflect what the Yonkers Public Schools look like. So why are some of them even on the board of trustees to begin with? Some of them are there basically because they're political operatives and have been for many years. And that doesn't do anything for our kids in our school district because they owe their loyalty to the politicians that appointed them to the board of trustees. Look how quickly they moved Lakeisha Collins Bellamy in there, then moved her out and put her into the city council president's position. So if they want to put you in there, they'll put you in there, then they'll move you somewhere else. It's not about, having a board of trustees that's there to do amazing things for the school district, to really improve the school district, because it has not greatly improved in the past 12, 16 years. They've known they needed a lot of this stuff that has not been done yet for a very long time, over a decade. So what have they done? What have they accomplished? And I'm not trying to attack them, but they don't seem to do the right things for our kids, right? They don't. They'll go after amazing people because their husband have podcast, shows that talk about things that are going on here in the city of Yonkers. But then they'll bring on people with criminal past, people that present a danger to the rest of society because they drink and drive, pedophiles that are allowed to go into the school buildings, and also sex offenders who work for the school, who still work there, individuals who have sexually assaulted staff members. They just move them to another school, but they won't fire them, right? Because it's all political. So it's 2024. I'm waiting for an investigation here. This Tasha Diaz scandal needs to be investigated. And as a parent, speaking to other parents, we need to start thinking about this board of trustees and how we want to see the board of trustees, the people on there, get put on there. We need to be voting for them. We need to make it to where the parents of those who have kids in the school district are voting for the people on the board. We need to have parents on there, people who reflect the community, people who have kids that are actually in the public schools and that really truly want to see the schools improve. That's what we need on our school board, not a bunch of politically appointed people with political connections there for political reasons. Parents, that is very important. Very, very important, right? So when we have these crazy mandates, and by the way, why they're still sending home COVID test kits with our kids, or have you gotten these things? My son keeps bringing them home. Why? I mean, there's enough information out there that will tell you these COVID stuff is nonsense, right? Stop sending that in. And who's got the contract for that? Because that's really what it's about. Who got the contract for that? Who brought that contract to the public schools here? I know. So that's really what it's about. We don't want them. Stop putting them in my son's book bag, please. And so, yeah, before I go, I just wanted to go over that. Really, I just wanted to go over that scope of work. They get stupid people to run for the council. The last smart councilman was Liam McLaughlin, and before him, Jim Heavens, and Murtaugh. Hey, Knucklehead DiMaggio, I've seen some of your comments, man. You're very interesting guy. You confused me a little bit by the name, but then some of the things you say, you know, listen, I'm enjoying it. Continue to comment, continue to, do your thing. Maybe you want to send me some messages. You can email me, politicwithfred@gmail.com. You seem to know some things. Send me some information. I'll talk about it right here on Basement Politics. But before I go, I got threatened with another lawsuit by John Cater. John Cater is threatening to sue me because of his concerns with his brother's election. That's right. Mike Cater is looking to run for city council president. Mike Cater has made peace with the man who pretty much destroyed him politically, his own cousin, Zehy Jereis. And now Mike Cater is working along with Zehy Jereis, hoping to get the support from the Spanos so he can run against Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. I believe that they're setting up a plan where they're going to get Mike Cater to agree to play along the way they want him to play along, so that way they can get Lakeisha out. As Lakeisha's not really for this. She's the one that spotted that Aces communication contract thing. She said, no, I'm not going to be a part of this, right? And she made Tasha Diaz get it off. Tasha Diaz was very pissed. So was Frankie. So they want to get her out. She's too much, right? And if Mike Cater can agree to play ball, get the Spanos support, then they'll put him in as city council president. Lakeisha will ultimately move on to become a judge. Lakeisha doesn't want to do anything in politics, knucklehead. I don't believe that. Tell John to chill and do a bump. Right. So that's why he's trying to sue me, because of the cocaine thing. But let me just tell you this. I didn't put it out there. Brian Harrod and even his boy Ruros from Yonkers Voice have called John Cater Johnny Kilo. That's not what I put out there. That's what they put out there, right? But let's be honest. Let's be honest. I've seen things with my own eyes. I've heard things with my own ears. Okay? So we can go the lawsuit route, but at the end of the day, we all know the truths, and the truths come out. And I can get people to vouch for the things I say, because there's people out there that know. I mean, I know things from when I was a young kid growing up, seeing things, right? Shotguns being shot out of limos in front of young kids. I've seen these things. Now, don't threaten to try to sue me now, because, now I see things clearly and I speak on it all, and you're scared that it might be, have some effect on Mike Cater's campaign for city council president. Well, I don't care about that. See, because you didn't care about my business, John. Even when you knew they were attacking me, your own cousin suing me, you still wanted me to go out there with a bunch of flyers that you had printed out about Nick Spano and Zehy Jereis. Remember what you were saying about Nick Spano. Remember all the things you told me about Zehy. I keep everything. So now don't try to play this game now. You throw Freddie under the bus. We don't care about Freddie. I got Vinny and Pete to meet and talk. And now you're good to go, right? Because I don't see your businesses having been attacked, right? I don't see your wife having gotten bad evaluations. You were saying a lot of things and providing a lot of information, but your wife did. In fact, my wife was supposed to do your wife's evaluations, but she had someone else, her own family member, doing the evaluation, right? One of her own family members, which I think that shouldn't be that way, right? It shouldn't be that way, but whatever, okay? But if your wife truly wanted to mind, or was minding her own business, she would have never made that comment to the student. That's way inappropriate and unprofessional, right? If you hear things, right? If you're around things, people are talking, then if you want to mind your business, then you don't say nothing. But if you go and tell a student her passes are no longer valid, you're putting yourself in the mix. You're involving yourself. You're not minding your business. You're adding fuel to the fire. So at this point, I don't care, because I, see things more clearly. And so I'll be straight up and be honest and unfiltered about everything and unbiased about everything. Okay. Because your brother's calling me up, giving me this information about people. Meanwhile, my wife's been fired, but he don't care. Here, Freddie, put this information out anyway. Rather than sitting down with your cousin, right, who you've been sitting down with to try to get this thing to happen for Cater and say, you know what? We gave a lot of info to Freddie. I was putting a battery behind Freddie's back. And I was trying to even protect you by saying, oh, the Caters are not giving me information when they will give me a lot of information, putting a battery behind my back. And I can show you the text calls where you're like, call me. I got information. Come on, man. This is good. This is juicy. Go after ABC. Go after Mr. ABC. Oh, you got to go after Zehy. How many times I say, yo, I can't do every podcast about Zehy, John. But now here I am. And you don't care. Your brother just opened up another business quick, fast on Main Street. Now we Gucci with the Vinster, and we don't need Fred no more, right? So you can sue me all day. I don't care. Wait in line. Like I said, Brian says it. Your gay pedophile buddy. And again, stop using that man. You know his past, right? But you don't care because you use people how you got to use them. And then that's that. Right? So I don't care. Wait in line, but we all know the truth. We know what's up. Freddie knows a lot of information, and a lot of it I didn't say out of respect because I truly don't want to be such a scumbag to be talking about some of these things. But what else I got to do but do a podcast? I'm Freddy Vazquez. This Basement Politics Unfiltered. Have a beautiful and blessed day. So again, if you want to sue me, wait in line. But we know what's up, and there's people out there that's seen things like I've seen things. I've seen people ducking low, escaping from Yonkers police. Okay, who was that? Who was ducking low from the Yonkers? So why would you be ducking low from the police when they're trying to come get you? Freddy wins. Fatality. So we could do lawsuits all day. I don't really give a fuck.